Hey guys, I'm Dan here. Just give me my chapter review to One Piece chapter 975, Kinemon's Plan. Now, this chapter, it was good, but I'm not sure if I'm 100% happy with it. You know, it was one of those One Piece moments of like, oh shit, look what just happened, Quinky Dink, and I'm just like, it was someone's stupidity saved everyone, and I'm just not sure that someone could be that stupid compared to, like, out of 1 out of 4,200 people or 1 out of 5,400 people was that stupid. But anyway, let's get down to it and let's talk about the actual chapter. So the first thing we see is Gotti has been kissed by this person who he probably thought was Chiffon, but is quite possibly Lola, because I'm assuming Chiffon wouldn't kiss another man. Hopefully. Anyway, we start off this chapter with Shinobu on the ground being held together by these black snakes. I assume Kanjuro drew these snakes because of their blackened nature. Maybe they're inky snakes. I'm a lot like Sai from Naruto. So I was like, Shinobu, like, come on, man. Shinobu, like, I get it. You've been out of training. I could see it in you. You've somehow gotten shorter and fatter at the same time. But I get that. But none of your shinobi skills helped you against snakes. Maybe when she saw Kanjuro, she was just like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And then he sprung the surprise on her. But anyway, Kanjuro was just there like, "Yo, what the hell does this mean? Why are Luffy and his crew here? Why is everybody else here? Law should be in prison." So then we get some kind of a breakdown of where they've been from Frankie, Usopp, Luffy, all those guys. So Frankie's like, he gives us kind of the breakdown of why the Sunny is still intact, and we all knew the Sunny's made out of atom wood. It's not going to get wrecked by a few bombs or anything like that. Big Mom, yeah, Big Mom will be able to break it, but Big Mom is a lot worse than some big bombs. Usopp just tells us, yeah, it took us a while to fix the sail, which is why we're late. But other than that, the ship is fine. We see Wanda in the back. So we're actually getting a little bit of information here as to who's on the ship. We see Carrot, and Kinemon is surprised that it didn't work and everything like that. But Brook makes the guy with no eyes has the most impressive sight. He's there saying, I see none of our allies here that were supposed to be here. There was supposed to be about 4,200 people here. Where the hell are they at? Luffy's like, alright, Kin, this isn't the situation we heard about, but can we smash up those battleships? First things first, everyone's in different outfits. So Frankie looks dope as shit with his kind of crescent moon thing. Really got the Kozuki thing going. Usopp's in more samurai-ish armor. He's got a headband. And actually, I think we get a side view of Usopp later on where you see more of that headband. He looks dope. Usopp looks pretty cool. Brook looks a little bit... I think Brook is wearing the same thing. Nami. Sorry, not Nami. What's her name? Robin. She's just wearing kind of her floral overcoat kind of thing. Kind of the same thing as what she was wearing before. And Luffy is just looking badass as shit with his cloak behind him. Collars up. He looks awesome. So then we go to Chopper. We see a musketeer in the back. I've forgotten his name. And we see Sanji. And Chopper makes mention of the fact, where those 3,500 people that were supposed to be coming from the excavation camp. And Sanji makes mention of the 200 Yakuza, which is supposed to be coming here from all over the nations. Sanji's wearing gloves. The gloves make him look a lot more Hitman, kind of. It gives me that kind of vibe. And he looks pretty cool with it. Frankie, basically the crew are just wondering about everybody's whereabouts. Where are those 200 musketeers from Dogstorm's crew, or Dogstorm's kind of men? Where the hell are they? The musketeers at Itachi Port, and the 280 from the Atamayama Thieves Brigade, who I think are part of not Tanjiro, Ashura Doji's boys. So Usopp and Frankie are very, very concerned because they're like, we were actually repairing those ships. Where the hell are these guys? So everyone's wondering about that, and Kinemon here is just like, I'm sorry, the entire plan was leaked. Luffy's looking over to Kanjuro, and I think he's piecing together in his head. He's like, oh, okay, this doesn't look so good. Anyway, we then get freaking Phoenix Man. We get a B-Tech Reiju and a mustachio dude, like a B-Tech Tamago. So these are like B-Tech versions of Reiju, Phoenix Man, and Tamago. And they're talking about how they might have failed to destroy Luffy's ship, but they made sure to sink every boat lined up at Itachi Port last night. and on Orochi's orders, they took out every bridge in between the regions, so that anybody who was traveling, I forgot this last chapter actually, I'll point that out, but everyone who was traveling from one region to another, they actually couldn't get to the next region, because last night these guys went ahead and destroyed all of the bridges in between. I think that was, yep, so that's the one. Kinemon is surprised by this. He's like, holy shit, okay, that explains why none of my friends are here. So those guys are kind of just belittling everyone, saying that's why none of your friends showed up. Even if they had, there wouldn't be any ships to get them to Onigashima. So basically, you had one opportunity, you've messed it up, you're not about to do anything. So they're still getting belittled by this B-Tech Reijun Phoenix Man. And Phoenix Man actually tells him here, he's like, oh, by the way, Big Mom and Kaido, they formed an alliance. Kid is actually very surprised by this. His crew are like, oh shit. And even Law's crew are shitting their pants. The one crew we don't actually see a reaction from, the Straw Hats, they don't seem to give a shit. And that's typical, you know? So, once again, Kaido's crew are saying, you know, what are three tiny, small times going to do to two Emperors of the Sea? And especially, you know, Kaido, who they're the crewmates of. What are you going to do to us? You guys are three wastemans on our seas. So Luffy, Law, and Kid here decide, alright, we're going to show you what we're going to do. They all jump ship straight onto one of Kaido's big-ass galleons. Like, all these ships are huge in comparison to the three ships that we're seeing right now. These are galleons. I love the fact that Law gets on the ship first because of his double fruit, and he's like, you're both losers, you're both too slow. And they all proceed to unleash hell on that one ship. Like, legitimately, that ship gets absolutely wrecked. You see Kid using this move called Punk Rotten. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It just looks like he buffs himself up with anything that he can attract to himself. Luffy goes straight into Gear 4th, Bounce Man, which I was surprised by. I was like, really? You're going to go straight into your Gear 4th? You know, the thing that actually makes you more tired than anything else you have? I mean, he might have gotten more used to it while he was in the prison, but still, it's like, that's his most taxing move. I wouldn't expect him to use that now when he knows he's going to fight Kaido later. And we get a rune from Law. They absolutely demolished that ship. I like the fact that you get to see that slice through the ship. Obviously, Law and his rune. But you see an explosion, which is probably a combination of both Kid and Luffy. And then the three freaking supernovas, they start arguing over something. But while they're arguing, Kyoshiro's ship pops up. And we already know who Kyoshiro is, so all of Kaido's men are probably just like, yeah, Kyoshiro, you're here to help us out. So Kyoshiro pulls out his sword, slices straight through one of the ships, and he's just like, I'm not going to sink you, I have no need to sink you, but I'm going to disable the cannons you had pointing my way. Zoro makes note of the fact that, oh, it's that guy, that was the guy that I was fighting, so maybe there's going to be some sort of friendship there, maybe a bit of rivalry going forward in terms of who they can kill. But I really like this display of how easy that was. Look how clean that cut was for Denjiro. Very, very easily able to just cut straight through a galleon. Very reminiscent of the first time we actually saw Mihawk. So he makes mention of he took, what's his name, Denjiro. He calls out to the Akazaya 9. He's just like, alright, I'm a Yakuza of the Flower Capital. They call me Napping Kyoshiro. Then Ashura Doji's just like, alright, we can't trust this guy. Watch out. He's a demon with the blade. But then he says something weird to them. He's like, the 200 men of the Kyoshiro family, they're at your disposal. And Kikunojo's like, yo, what do you owe us? Why do you want to lend your men to us? That's not something normal people would do. Who are you? So then Denjiro very quickly shows how he knows Kinemon here. He gives an example of a time of something only he would know about Kinemon. So he's like, he talks about being part of the Kozuki clan, but he's also like, I remember that mountain god incident that happened in the capital. Everyone thinks that it was Odin that brought about that rampaging mountain god, but it was actually your greed in your younger days that brought it about. While he's doing this, he takes off that pompadour, which is a wig. Surprise. It was a huge surprise for me. And all of this, the fact that he called him kin, the fact that he's the only person in the world that knows about the fact that he brought the mountain god to Wano and to the Flower Capital, Kinemon gets it straight away. He's like, holy shit, is that you, Denjiro? And Denjiro responds with, yeah, you may not recognize me. I would have revealed myself to you earlier, but I chose to stay as your enemy just in case. And it turns out that actually staying as the enemy, and this is where Denjiro's cunning, because this whole chapter is kind of mockingly making fun in a satirical kind of way, making fun of Kinemon's cunning, his intelligence, and his ability to plan forward. Whereas in reality, Denjiro has really just saved pretty much everyone. Well, it wasn't really Denjiro that saved everyone. It really was Kinemon's idiocy, apparently. But in this situation, Denjiro having thought ahead and just like, no, you know what? I'm not going to reveal myself yet. We don't know what's going to happen. I'll stay their enemy just in case. And sure enough, like he says, there was a betrayer in your midst, and had I come out earlier, Orochi would have named me and would have killed me. He would have identified who I was. But because of the fact that he wasn't able to do that, I have liberated 1,000 samurai from the Rosetsu prisoners' quarters, which I think was the prisoners' quarters in the Flower Capital, and he's added another 1,200 soldiers to their total, 1,200 samurai, I think. Obviously, this is a huge win for the Straw Hats, but we're still thinking about, okay, you got 1,200, but that wasn't enough when you had 4,200. Where are the other 4,200? But then Denjiro once again, and someone actually made mention of this, Denjiro goes on to say how intelligent Kinemon was about, how he misread, how he purposefully misinterpreted the sign that Yasui had made, the symbol that Yasui had made with the two lines going over the snake, and how he had interpreted that as the Habu port. How he had interpreted that as the Tokage port, I think it was, which is a lizard. But that's not the port it should have been. So what I think Denjiro did here, and this is courtesy of someone on Reddit, let me see what he said. This was courtesy of Hitler from the ashes. Okay, but he believes that Denjiro might have said what he said in terms of Kinemon being able to Kinemon giving incorrect instructions to his group of samurai, whereas everybody else went to the correct port. He believes that Kinemon did that on purpose. Well, he believes that Denjiro said that aloud for everyone to hear on purpose, so that they think that Kinemon did that on purpose. They think that now Kinemon is some intelligent guy with some great wisdom, great cunning, great intellect, and this is boosting their morale and confidence in Kinemon. And I was like, you know what? That's actually a really good point, because Denjiro would be the guy. He knows exactly how much of a dumbass that Kin is. But instead of making a fool of him, he's painted Kinemon as a leader. That's exactly what this guy says. And I agree with this guy. I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I think he might have done that. So, yeah, what Denjiro basically says is, Lord Yasui's image features two lines going over the stomach of the Habu pit viper, which symbolizes the Habu port. And those two lines over the belly, they signify something else. They signify remove the midsection of the word, which I think he means Habu pit viper word, or Habu port, which he then goes on to say is Habu minato. So if you take off the bumina, and you just go to hato, that means wharf or something like that, dock. So he relayed only the message of the two lines to everybody else, but that's where Denjiro is saying, but you knew that there was a traitor in your midst, so you cleverly misread the answer as Tokage port in the presence of your group, whereas everybody else knew that they were to go to the wharf, the Hato thingy, Hato area. So I was just like, you see Kanjiro's reaction, and I was just like, I'm not so sure if, like, I get that what Denjiro's doing here, but Kinemon's stupidity, I'm just like, really? So you're telling me that 4,200 other samurai understood Yasui's kind of riddle, whereas the only guy that really would have been able to unite everyone, that one guy, he didn't get the riddle. He completely misread it, led his group all the way to the wrong port, and everybody else was safe while their leftover ships were getting destroyed, essentially. So I was like, I'm not too sure if I'm happy with that, but that's the way it's turned out. Anyway, Denjiro carries on. He's like, all of your allied forces were done crossing the bridges. So actually, wait. So such is the foolishness. Okay, so what he talks about here is Orochi misjudged the distances between, so it would have been this dock and between the Tokage port. So whereas they made their move, the Kaido's pirates and stuff like that made their move to destroy the bridges last night. Everyone had actually made their move by then. All of the allied forces have already crossed the bridges and stuff like that. So all the ships that he needed have already moved, and the ones that were left behind are the ones that were sunk by Kaido and his forces. So the 4,200 soldiers, bottom line, they're all good. They're all alive. They're hiding behind the maple forest along the wharf at Habu Port. Apparently a place beloved by Yasui. And they're just waiting there. So Kikunojo's shitting her pants, or his pants here. And then we just get this hype moment, this really hype moment. Denjiro's riling up the crowd. Denjiro's increased their confidence, not in just their rebellion, but in Kinemon, in the Akazaya 9, in the 9 Red Scabbards. He's like, it might be 20 years later, but we'll never forget Oden's death. We've always believed in the Kozuki clan, all that good shit. And he just shouts over the crashing waves. The raid on Onigashima hasn't lost a single step. So now they have 1,200 more added to their 4,200, 5,400 soldiers. This is really looking like an end game kind of battle here. And Luffy's just like, I don't understand what the hell just happened there. In reality, it was hard for me to describe what happened there because I don't remember where they were supposed to be. I don't know how far this dock at Habu Port is as compared to Tokage Port. I don't understand why they got there earlier, unless what I'm assuming is it was further away than they initially thought, so they would have left earlier and they would have reached Tokage Port, or they would have reached Habu Port before the bridges got destroyed, and they wouldn't have ever gone to Tokage Port in the first place. So Denjiro's is there like, you truly are our leader, Kin. A man worthy of my respect. The fact that he shouts that over everything else really does suggest that he's trying to get everyone to believe in Kinemon. And you see Kinemon's face just there like, so this whole time it was supposed to be the wharf and not Tokage Port. You see Kanjuro shitting his pants right now. But that was, like I said, I'm not sure exactly how much I buy into that reasoning. I'm just like, everybody else got it apart from Kinemon. I mean, like, did none of Kinemon's boys? I mean, you have Ashiro Doji there, you had Shinobu, you had Inuarashi, Nekomamushi. None of these guys knew. I mean, like, obviously Law wouldn't be able to say anything, Luffy wouldn't be able to say anything, but really none of them said anything. Not Raizo either. No one else saw it. I need to reread Wano and make sure like how this all fits in. Who actually saw the sign? And was it just Kinemon who looked at it and was like, all right, this is where we're going, and gave nobody else a chance to look at it? I don't know. But yeah, this chapter was pretty cool, and I'm happy with the fact that Denjiro is here. I was hoping for a more epic kind of Denjiro introduction, like someone's about to get wrecked, or like, the ships were about to get destroyed or something like that. All cannons are pointing at them, and Kinemon's just looking at them like, well, shit, and he's apologizing to Oden in his mind. And then you just see this Getsuga Tensho just go straight through all the ships. And then there's just one guy in like a dinghy boat with his sword, puts it back in its sheath, and it's freaking Denjiro. I would have been like, oh my, that would have been amazing. We didn't get something like that. We got something lesser than that. But what Denjiro did do is bring 1,200 of the Mandem and then tell us that the 4,200 of the Mandem are still alive. So we have 5,400 Mandem just chilling alongside Denjiro. Well, not really. We have 1,200 Mandem. Chilling alongside Denjiro while the other 4,200 lie waiting, I think. So let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. A lot longer than it was supposed to be because I was trying to explain that shit while really not getting 100% of it myself. I think there's some of it is obviously understanding that Habuminato thingy and that Bumina part, getting rid of that word. But once again, I struggle to see how everybody else but Kinemon seemed to understand the riddle, and that led to that's going to lead to their victory. I'm like, just really such a pivotal point was based off of luck. I'm not saying things like that haven't happened before in history and war, but this just seems like very, very, I'm just like, ooh, this is kind of pushing it, even for Oda. So once again, let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys thought of this review, chapter. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you guys in a bit.